The Tokyo Olympics, after just over 2 weeks of actions and emotions, has come to an end. Records and achievements apart, the Games was played amid a scary shadow of the pandemic. Meanwhile, back home, it was a frightening day yesterday as coronavirus accounted for 55 deaths, giving out strong signals that we are well into the dreaded third wave even before the second wave has completely subsided. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the top stories of the hour. The country continues to reel under coronavirus as 55 COVID-19 deaths registered yesterday, the highest single-day death toll in the past 45 days. CJ Rana defends the ordinance on the Constitutional Council issued on the recommendation of the KP Sharma Oli government and the appointments made accordingly. The Taliban captured 3 more provincial capitals as they take their fight to the cities after seizing much of the countryside in recent months. And the Tokyo Olympics played in the shadow of the pandemic comes to an end in a somber yet colorful closing ceremony. Olympic baton handed to Paris 2024 Olympics. The country continues to reel under coronavirus as 55 COVID-19 patients succumbed to the virus yesterday. This is the highest number of deaths recorded in the past 45 days. On 23rd of June, the country had recorded 81 COVID-19 deaths. Meanwhile, on 13th of July, the country reported only 12 coronavirus-related deaths. However, the number of deaths gradually increased with the upsurge in the COVID infection graph. According to the Health Ministry, out of 9,033 samples tested through the PCR method, 23% tested positive, as 2,137 positive cases were reported yesterday. More than 1,000 patients are currently receiving treatment in intensive cares and under ventilator support. Meanwhile, the number of active cases in the country has crossed 35,500. Chief Justice Cholendra Samsir Rana termed the ordinance on the Constitutional Council issued on the recommendation of the KP Sharma Oli government last December and the appointments made on its basis as constitutional by sending a written reply to the Supreme Court yesterday through the Office of the Attorney General. Chief Justice Rana defended the Constitutional Council while furnishing a worded response to the writ petition filed at the Apex Court by Speaker Agni Sapkota, among others. The CJ said the government can issue the ordinance when the federal parliament is not in session. He made the claim in a written reply to the Supreme Court as a member of the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Rana tried to justify the appointments made based on the ordinances issued under the Oli-led government, saying that there is a constitutional provision to issue an ordinance in case of an emergency during the absence of the session of both the houses of the federal parliament. And in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Arghakhanchi why has there been delay in inoculating the public with COVID-19 vaccines procured by Nepal government and received as grant from various countries. Before we go for a short break, let's take a look at what they have to say.
राज्यका प्रमुख मान्छेले बुझ्न पर्ने कुरा के छैन पर खोप जति आज उति प्रत्येक नागरिकलाई दिइहाल्न पर्यो जति धेरै मान्छेले खोप लगाए उति धेरैमा यो संक्रमण कम हुँदै जाने
केन्द्र सरकारले प्रदेश सरकार र स्थानीय सरकारसँग जसरी समन्वय गर्नुपर्ने हो त्यो नगरेको कारणले पनि हुन सक्छ
जनता बचाउनु पर्छ भनेर राज्यले खोप चाहिँ सबैलाई प्रदान गर्न पर्ने थियो
And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion. And the question is, how do you evaluate the common program of the ruling alliance? Our options are option A, exciting, option B, ritualistic, option C, we'll have to see if it works. The voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's now time for our special segment of the beat.
As per the country's legal provisions, it requires to touch 20 years of age to become eligible to get married. People breaching this provision and even individuals who force others for early marriage are likely to punishment up to 3 years of imprisonment and monetary penalty. Despite such legal provisions, it has been observed that a significant number of teenage girls have been forced to marry in various rural areas in Palpa, lying at a distance of around 270 kilometers west of capital Kathmandu. Ironically, Ramba Rural Municipality awarded motivational incentives to a 16-year-old lactating mother. The 16-year-old also has a marriage certificate issued from the local ward office. A large number of teenaged mothers are also noticeable in Palpa's Ribdikot Rural Municipality. Most of these young mothers are in the age group of 16 to 20 years. Many of these girls have got married while they were studying between 6th to 9th grade and lack serious awareness as how to early marriage can be detrimental to their physical well-being. There is the presence of health workers, social activists, however child or early marriage has thrived in these Palpa villages. According to Palpa Health Office, at least 27% of young mothers are below the age of 20 years. Social activists claim that age-old cultures associated with indigenous nationalities, among others, has contributed to this thriving ill practice. Girl children fail to continue their studies due to poverty and an adverse geographical terrain, as these girls ends up getting married at an early age. Child marriage poses significant health risk for young mothers. In the global context too, complications from pregnancy and childbirth are the leading cause of death among girls aged between 15 to 19. The health officials and social workers active in the field maintain that there is a serious urgency to stop child marriages, especially rampant in rural part of Nepal, to ensure everyone's rights to healthy living. This is Sarah Chitrakar for our special segment Off the Beat and Kantipur News Desk.
And before we wrap up this morning news bulletin, here's a look at the top stories one more time. And those were our latest headlines. Our next English bulletin will be at 11 a.m. Have a good day.